In today's episode, we'll talk about how to push yourself to take more risks. Taking risks can be hard, but taking them will teach you new things about yourself. Let me tell you my story. I was afraid of taking risks, very afraid. I'd seen what happened to people when they moved from their comfort zone and took risks. Things didn't go well. At least that's what I thought. I never asked questions to establish why things had gone wrong. I never stuck around long enough to find out how the story ended. I left halfway through the movie and missed out on the celebrations for happy endings. Then one day, all that changed. Life forced me into a corner where I had no choice but to take a risk I would have previously shunned. It was sink or swim as I jumped both feet in. I soon realized that not taking risks is a risk in itself. Great benefits usually lie on the other side of risk. I also learned that there are things one can do to make taking risks less frightening. Firstly, visualize the end result. One of the most effective ways to trick yourself into taking more risks is to visualize the end result. Picture yourself doing the thing you want to do and picture how you'll feel when you do it. Visualize yourself succeeding at the risk. Think about how other people will react, what they'll say about this risk you took, and imagine telling your friends about it. Think about how much better you'll feel for having taken it. And if all else fails, think about how bad you would feel if you didn't take that risk. Secondly, plan what you want to do and how you're going to do it. Once you figure out what you want to do and how you're going to do it, set the goal. Keep in mind that your goals can change along with your plan. So, if something isn't working for you, don't be afraid to change course. In fact, it's better to adjust than stick with a plan that isn't giving you the results you hoped for. But don't forget about time frames. Goals should have deadlines. Otherwise, they're just wishes. If a goal is not specific and time-bound and measurable, then it is not a goal. It is more of a general intention or wishful thinking. Thirdly, prepare for the consequences, both good and bad. When you're looking to be a bit more daring, it's important to consider that the risks often come with consequences. You may have set your sights on a big promotion, and after working hard, you finally meet all the qualifications. But what if you don't get the promotion? Are you prepared for potential disappointment? What if someone else gets the promotion? Or maybe even worse, what if no one makes the jump and no one gets promoted? Before moving forward with any risky decision, be sure to weigh out all the potential outcomes. You should focus on both the positive results of taking action, such as getting the promotion, but also acknowledge less desirable ones, like not getting it. This will help you better assess whether or not taking risks is something that makes sense for your life right now. Fourthly, give it your all or don't bother at all. Before you embrace risk, you must be willing to give your all to whatever endeavor you're tackling. Giving things a try is great, but only if you put yourself into it wholeheartedly. If I had the choice between writing half-heartedly and not writing at all, I would have chosen not to write at all. If something isn't worth your fully invested effort, then it's probably not worth your time. Even if you give something your best shot, you might fall short of success or even fail completely. But at least when that happens, it's on your terms and in line with how hard you tried. Some people are better than me, and some people are just plain lucky. But no matter what happens with my journey towards success, I know that I am in it. I give it everything I have, and I'm not settling for less than full effort along the way. Fifthly, set yourself a deadline. Find the motivation to complete a task, because when you don't have motivation, it can be challenging. Setting yourself a deadline will not only help you focus on the task at hand, but it can also inspire other positive behaviors. A life coach in Los Angeles, Dr. Jackie Black, points out that deadlines are great for prioritizing, controlling stress, and even keeping you motivated. Deadlines are also part of accountability, she said. Having a deadline helps us track our accountability and progress toward goals. Sixth, remind yourself that it's okay to fail. People who take risks see the potential for failure as a necessary step toward success, and they remind themselves that it's okay if things don't go as planned. They know that failing is part of their journey to succeed. There are some steps you can take to assess your risk-taking approach. Think about how you would feel if you were successful, then how you would feel if you failed, and also what the consequences of failure might be. Once you begin thinking carefully about possible outcomes, think about whether or not these consequences are something that you could live with. Then decide, should I take the risk? Seventh, remember your wins. Your mind is probably immediately jumping to your biggest wins, the moments where your courage was rewarded with a cash prize or an advance in your career. But in fact, the biggest lesson you can learn from risk is often from failure. Most people only remember their triumphs, but remembering how you dealt with a tough setback will give you confidence for next time. Even if a risk didn't work out, you probably learned something about yourself or about what doesn't work for you that's going to be useful. Don't beat yourself up over it. Instead, make a note of it and move on. Eighth, taking risks can be hard, but they will teach you new things about yourself. Yes, taking risks can be hard. When I ran a bed and breakfast business, I learned that I could be more outgoing, and people would respond to me if I engaged with them in conversation. It was something so simple, but took me a long time to learn. As you take on more risks, don't forget that it is okay to fail. In fact, taking on riskier assignments means that you're probably going to fail at something eventually. The key is not letting the fear of failure hold you back. Don't let your fears suppress your talents.